that would be worthy of a high degree of vigilance and protection. Am I overreacting here?
You're not overreacting at all. Everything in this case indicates that that child is at a higher risk, a much higher risk than the average child.
I do just wish that you guys would acknowledge the steps that I have taken. Part of that is also that I have always told my daughter that if she can't talk to me, that I want her to tell anybody, a teacher, somebody. No.
Okay, listen to me. Listen to me. Please, let me respond to what you said. I do acknowledge the steps that you've taken. There are some that I think you need to take, and I'm going to tell you what those are right after we take a break. Robert, I'm not going to keep you further. You have added immensely to this discussion. Thank you so much for your time. Emily says if things don't change with Kim, she's going to try and get custody of her niece. We're going to talk about whether that is necessary or even possible when we come back.
In my opinion, my 8-year-old niece is crying for help. And she has been crying for help with the accidents, with the tantrums, but her mom's just not listening. If things continue, I absolutely would take custody of that little girl until Kim gets out of the group and puts her child first to make sure that she is safe.
If I heard she was being sexually abused and neither parent was doing anything about it, then I don't think I'd have a problem petitioning the court for custody. I wouldn't hesitate to take her.
What I'm trying to tell you is that there are significant risk factors here, just statistically. Yes. You're taking some measures of protection, which I've acknowledged. And I want to be very clear about that, but I also want to tell you that as a responsible parent, you can't ignore that this would be a higher risk situation than would be normal.
Absolutely.
It would be like living on a busy street. You have to acknowledge that there is a risk factor of living on a busy street.
And you put a fence up and you do everything you can to make sure that they don't run out on the street. And that's
when you have someone that has the criminal history, disputed as it is, the criminal history here that tells you that you have a higher risk situation, and you have to acknowledge that. Now, in the interest of accuracy, I have to be very clear, and it's going to lead me to what is my greatest concern about what's not happening here. If you go through and list all of the offenses that occur that cause people to go to prison, and you spent how long? A year and...
Technically, I was sentenced to 18 months.
Okay, but
I had to spend 4.
You spent less than that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so he did go to prison for this, but the lowest group of reoffenders are sex offenders. Everybody thinks, do these people, can they never get better? That's a common misperception. Crimes like assault and burglary and things of that nature have a much higher reoffense rate than do sex offenders. However, that is when they have participated in an evidence-based, community-centered treatment program beginning in prison and continuing after prison. Because these folks can change the way they think and react and get better. I can find no evidence of any intensive and ongoing intervention on your part.
I did go through a class.
Okay, well,